In this video, I'm going to show you how you can use Home Assistant to create a haunted house using randomized sound effects. So stick around because we're about to automate some boring stuff. Welcome back to Slacker Labs. My name is Jeff. This video is really revisiting one of the very first Home Assistant videos I ever created for YouTube, which was how to build a haunted house using randomized sound effects. Of course, by the time you've seen this video, Halloween 2021 may be already over. I really meant to have this video out sooner. After all, there was a rumor on Twitter that if I hit 5,000 subscribers before Halloween, I would do a Halloween-themed video. But lately, work and my personal life have started to require a little more time, and that's left less time to make videos, so I've gotten a little behind. But about a week or so ago as of filming this video, I did hit 5,000 subscribers. So a huge thank you to every one of you that has liked, subscribed, commented, or even disliked one of my videos. It really does mean a lot. Anyway, you guys didn't come here for a vlog about making Home Assistant videos on YouTube. Come to think of it, you may not even be here because you want to build a haunted house with Home Assistant. But I have made some improvements since that first attempt about a year ago. And for those of you not interested in building a haunted house, I hope you stick around anyway, because we're going to cover lots of stuff that could be useful in other Home Assistant projects. Of course, if you've been watching my videos for some time, a lot of this isn't going to be all that new. But if you've recently found me, we're going to cover things like randomizing which media player you play your media to, playing local audio from the media directory, using the media extractor service to stream YouTube audio, simplifying your automations using scripts that we can change on the fly using parameters, even how to use a scene to create a temporary snapshot of our entity's state so that we can reference it later, and perhaps most important of all, how to build automations with absolutely no real value. So if that sounds like some smart home fun, let's get to it. Okay, so this is my Halloween.yaml file that lives in my packages directory, and I built a package for this so that I can include all of the pieces for this in a single file that you could download if you wanted to and just drop it into your configuration. Then all you have to do is make some minor modifications to this file and restart Home Assistant, and then you should have a haunted house set up. Okay, in terms of packages, if you don't already use packages, you're going to want to jump over into your configuration.yaml file, and then at the top of the file is going to be a Home Assistant : section. And here is just some general configuration for your Home Assistant instance. One of the lines you could put here is packages. And as you can see here, I have packages : then I have this directive include the directory named, and then I give it a name. And in my case, it's packages. This could be whatever you want. I've seen people use integrations. The name here doesn't really matter. It just has to match the name of the folder you create in your configuration. And if you look at my GitHub config, you'll see I have a folder called packages, and it has quite a few files. So once you've set this line up in your configuration.yaml, all you have to do is reboot. Just make sure you create that folder before you reboot, otherwise Home Assistant is going to get mad. Alright, back in my Halloween.yaml file, at the top is just some general information about what's in this file, and there's a section here that I use to create a Lovelace card that contains the configuration, switches, and options for this package. That way you can have easy access to change some of the triggers or modify the effects on the fly without having to come in here and edit this file every time. If you wanted to use this in your Lovelace, you could just come in here, uncomment this section, copy it, and then paste it into a manual Lovelace card, and then you'll be good to go. The next section is my input booleans, and these I just use for switches to control the main effect and to control parts of the effect. So this is Halloween is the main switch. When this gets flipped on, the haunted house effect starts, and when it gets flipped off, it stops. The next two, haunted sounds and scary sounds, just modify the different sounds that could happen during this effect. And now since this includes lighting effects, these two switches could be switched off, and the haunted house effect would just be random lights turning on and off for the hour that this is on. The next section is an input date time, and this is the actual time and date that this show would trigger automatically. So you would have to set this in the UI, and I'll show you how to do that at the end of this walkthrough. The section underneath this is the media extractor, and you may already have media extractor defined somewhere else in your configuration, which is why it's commented out in this file. So if you're not using it, you can just uncomment this line and you'll be good. Just make sure you don't put this someplace else in your configuration, otherwise Home Assistant's going to get mad. Now we get into the automations, and there's two automations in this haunted house setup. The first one just turns on the This is Halloween switch automatically based on the time in that input date time. And I've separated it from the others just to simplify things. So what this does is at the time set in that input date time, it turns on the This is Halloween switch, then it delays for an hour, and then it turns it off. This next automation is Operation Haunted House. And this one handles kicking off this show anytime that switch is flipped, either by the automation we just discussed or manually flipping the switch in the UI. So in this case, this automation has two triggers. Anytime the switch is turned on and we give it an ID start, and anytime the switch is turned off and we give it an ID of stop. In the actions, we're going to use choose, and for our first condition, we're going to look for the trigger ID start. Then the sequence is going to be to turn on our script haunted house. And I broke this out into its own script because I wanted an easy way to stop the effect. The next condition in this choose action is going to be looking for the trigger ID stop. And in that case, we're going to turn off the script and we're going to turn on a scene before haunting. And we're going to talk about this scene here in a minute, but this is important because this will restore your lights back to the state they were before this kicked off. Alright, now we are into the scripts, and this is where things start to get interesting. This first script is called Haunted House, and this is going to manage running the show. This script is basically the traffic controller for the rest of this setup. And in this script, we're going to use a repeat loop. For that repeat loop, we're going to repeat as long as the This is Halloween switch is on. So as soon as that switch gets flipped off, the script should stop. So the first service in this sequence is we're going to create a scene. And the purpose of this is going to grab the current state of the lights we want to adjust during this effect. This create scene might be one of the best use cases for scenes. For example, if you walk into your kitchen in the middle of the night, you can have an automation that triggers based on a motion sensor. Then uses this create scene service to create a temporary snapshot of all the current states of your kitchen lights. Then you could turn up the brightness of some of those lights so that you can see as you're walking around in the kitchen. Then after a delay of maybe 5 minutes, you could apply the scene you created to return all the lights to the state they were before you walked into the kitchen. For this service, we're going to give it a scene ID of before_haunting. And then under snapshot entities, we're going to list every light we want to use in this effect. And I would suggest using lights as opposed to switches. You could use switches, but that's going to complicate this next action, which is calling the service light.toggle. And I'm doing this because I don't know the state of each one of these lights at the time that this script gets called. And I want to do the opposite of the current state. So if the light is on, I want to turn it off. And if it's off, I want to turn it on. And just to avoid writing some complicated if-else statements, I'm going to use light.toggle. And I don't believe switches have a function like that. Then under entity IDs, we're going to choose a random light. And this list should be a list of all the lights you want to adjust, followed by the /random. And it'll pick a random one every time we loop through this script. Next up, we're going to call this service script.hauntedsounds. And again, I created another script here because there are some things in here that I didn't want to have to repeat a bunch of times. So this is me just trying to reduce the number of times I have to write the same thing in this setup. So we call this script Haunted Sounds. Let's take a look at what that does. Okay, so at Haunted Sounds, this one checks to make sure that our Haunted Sounds input boolean is on. Then it calls another script. And yeah, I know we're getting crazy with the scripts, but hopefully this makes a little bit of sense. There was a method to my madness after all. The purpose of this local audio script is to be used anytime I want to play a media file, like an MP3, anywhere in the house. And I didn't want to have to type all of those services like turn on the media player, any of that stuff. So I built a script that just takes 3 parameters. takes a speaker, and in this case we're going to randomize what speaker we want to pass it so that this effect plays randomly in the house. We pass it the volume, in this case 50% because we don't want it too loud, and then media, which is a list of all of the files that I might want to use every time the script is called. And every time Haunted Sounds is called, it randomly picks a speaker, sets the volume to 50%, and then randomly picks one of these files to play. And I'll put all of these MP3s in a folder in my GitHub so that you could download them if you like. The next thing we want to do after we've kicked off that Haunted Sounds script is enter a delay, and we've randomized this to be anywhere between 2 and 5 minutes. That way we have enough time for the previous effect to finish playing and a random delay before the next effect plays. This is all in an effort to keep the people in the house from knowing what's going to happen next. After that random delay, we're going to turn on our before haunting scene, which should restore any of the lights that we toggled back to the previous state. And then the next thing we're going to do is we're going to call another service. And I put a little if-else statement here, because if we've turned on those intense sounds, I wanted to use those now. So that's what this is doing. If the input Boolean scary sounds is on, we're going to call a different script. In this case, more haunted sounds. And if it's off, then we'll just stick with the previous script we just talked about. So let's look at the more haunted sounds. So in this case, we're calling a different audio script. In this case, we're calling YouTube audio because all the sounds in this setup are from YouTube. But we pass it the same 3 parameters. The speaker is going to be randomized in this case. The volume is going to be set to 50%. And then for our media, I have a list of YouTube URLs, and it's going to randomly pick one of these. Now, you may be asking why I have a YouTube audio script and a local audio script, and that's because the service needed to play a local file versus a YouTube URL is a little bit different. And before we get into those audio files, let's jump back into our Haunted House script, and we're going to look at the one last delay here, which is another randomized 2 to 5 minutes. And after that delay, we're going to loop back through this entire script and start the process all over again. So we're going to go back to the top. We're going to make sure that This Is Halloween is on, and if it is, then we're going to keep going. We're going to create the scene again, make sure that we get a current snapshot of all of our lights. We're going to toggle one, and then we'll go through playing our sounds. Alright, like I said, the local audio script that I referenced in the Haunted Sounds script lives in a different part of my configuration. But in order to keep this all complete, I put a copy of it here. So you can see here what it looks like. If I uncomment this out right here. So it's very basic. The local audio script just makes sure that audible notifications is on. It makes sure that the family is home, and then it turns on a media player, whatever media player we pass it in the speaker parameter. It sets the volume using the speaker parameter to identify the entity ID and the volume we passed it. It has a delay of 5 seconds. This gives the media player enough time to power on to set the volume before we start playing the audio file. And then the last service is simply playing the media file, in which we identify the entity using our speaker parameter, we set the media content to music, and the media content ID will be whatever URL we pass it. At the top of this section, I put a little reference as to what this would look like if you were calling it without any of the weird random stuff we've done in this. So you would just call the script, pass it a speaker, a volume, and a URL. The local audio script here is meant to play any of the files that are on your local machine. So if you want to use this, just uncomment this out, but since it lives in another part of my configuration, I'm going to comment it out here. YouTube audio, like I said, is going to be almost identical. If you're going to use it, you just have to uncomment it out. You would just have to modify this. You would have to modify this in the local audio, and I forgot to mention that. You would just modify any of these conditions, like this state for making sure that the audible notifications are on. If you have something like that, you could put that here. Otherwise, you could remove it. The family status, you would just want to update that to whatever you're using to track whether your family is home or not, or remove it. Then the rest of this could stay the same. We're going to turn on the media player like we did before. We're going to set the volume. And then this is where it gets different. This is where you have to use that media extractor service because we're going to be passing it a web URL, specifically a YouTube one. So in this case, we're going to call this service media extractor play media. This will only work if you've enabled that media extractor integration above or somewhere else in your configuration. We're going to pass it an entity ID using our speaker parameter. The media content type is video/YouTube, and the media content ID in this case is going to be a URL. Again, here at the top of this section, I show an example of what this would look like if you didn't have any of the weirdness with the randomized effects like we've done in this. You would set a speaker. In this case, it should probably be media player instead of main, and I will update that before I save this to GitHub, the volume, and media, which is the URL to the sound you want to play. Alright, now that we've gone through that, let's talk about what you need to modify if you downloaded this and dropped it into your configuration. Really and truly, the main things you're going to want to modify are in the scripts. So in that haunted house script that we talked about, you'll want to modify any of the snapshot entities to include any of the lights you want to include in this effect. It could be one light, it could be multiple lights. It doesn't matter how many entities you have here. Like I said, they probably should just be lights. If you're going to go with something else like switches, then you're going to have to change your service below to something else. So at that point, things are going to get complicated. So again, if you can, I would avoid using switches and just stick to lights if you have them. Of course, if you don't want any of the light effects, you could just take all of this out. For the light toggle, you're going to want to change this list of lights that it's randomly picking. It should match whatever's in your snapshot entities above. Then down in the haunted sound script, you're going to want to modify the speakers that it could randomly pick. I don't think this is going to work with Echoes. It should work with Apple TV as long as you have the Apple TV integration, Chromecast, Google Homes, Sonos speakers. There's probably some others that I'm not mentioning. I just don't think it works well with the Echo using the Amazon Media Player integration. And then next up, you're going to want to modify what sounds you want to include. This could be any MP3s that you've downloaded. I've downloaded all of these off of the web, and again, I'll put the folder of MP3s that I'm using in my GitHub so you could download it. You just want to make sure that you update the path to whatever you've done in yours. If you've just dropped it in your media folder, you can remove the haunted sounds, but mine lives in the media folder under haunted sounds. Now, I want to flip over to my configuration panel on my Lovelace dashboard, because here we can see the Halloween section that I've built for this effect. So this includes a Halloween countdown. I'm using, I think, a Wolfram Alpha API to do this, and in fact, it's in that file down at the bottom, and there's instructions at the top of the Halloween.yaml file that link to a video that Carlo over at vCloudInfo did, walking you through how to set that up. The first switch on here, this is Halloween. This is the main automation that would automatically kick off the show. So if you don't want it automatically running, you would flip this off. The next switch is the manual switch. This switch will get turned on automatically if the This Is Halloween automation runs. Probably should have named those two differently, but I didn't. The next one here is that input date time. You can just set the day and the time that you want this to run. Of course, mine is on Halloween at 6:30 p.m. And then I've got the two toggles for the haunted sounds and the intense hauntings. So the intense hauntings were just sounds that were a little more realistic. And I put this in there in case my kid decided that was too scary for him. So you could turn this off and the more Disney-fied haunted sounds will play. And we'll just leave the scarier sounds off. Or you could turn them both off, and what'll happen is the lighting effects in that script will happen, but none of the sounds will play. I'm going to leave both of those on because that'll be more fun. And after all that, what you've ended up with is a haunted house automation, or at the very least, some new Home Assistant tools that you can use in other Home Assistant projects. Anyway, thanks again for being part of the Slacker Labs journey. If you found value in this video, hit that like button and consider subscribing to my channel for more smart home content like this. As always, thanks for taking time out of your home automation projects to watch mine. Until next time, go automate the boring stuff. Ha 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 ha.